Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Grenada moving to take advantage of GEF funding for environmental projects. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Friday, January 18th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Grenada is gearing up to take advantage of funding available for environmental projects under the Global Environment Facility GEF 2019. GCF Caribbean constituency member countries spent the last 2 days in Grenada discussing and analyzing past, ongoing and future projects and developing policies and programs under the fund. The facility focuses on 3 main areas: land degradation, climate change and biodiversity. Grenada currently has more than 30 projects that are funded by GEF. Titus Antwine, representative of the Economic and Technical Cooperation Department in the Ministry of Finance, says Grenada is well poised to take advantage of funding for projects in 2019.
Grenada is well engaged with the GEF, facility, but there's always room for improvement. So we would definitely come out of this meeting re-energized, reinvigorated to even do more than we are currently doing, to access even more funding, enhance the rate of implementation for the projects, etc. So we have a few projects in the pipeline. Some of the regional projects that Grenada is going to participate in are going to be sponsored by GEF, as well as national projects that's going to be sponsored. The project's going to be along 3 lines, three thematic areas basically. We'll be looking at land degradation, we'll be looking at biodiversity and climate change. These 3 areas primarily is where the projects will emanate from for 2019. Antwine
says under the upcoming 7th cycle, Grenada will propose more community-based programs and projects.
We are now in the, we just have what you call the 7th cycle. So GEF 7 is currently being programmed. So we want to have an early start to GEF 7. We also have, because it's just been replenished by the donors and so on, which is developed countries primarily, with some developing countries also. We have the GEF small grants as well, which is a key component of the GEF in terms of getting projects in the communities, the community-based organizations and so on, benefiting from funding to do work, environmental climate change work at the community level.
Haiti was appointed the new chair of the Caribbean Constituency Council on Thursday, taking over from Grenada after serving for 2 years. Grenada is moving to develop a national anti-childhood obesity action plan that will address the epidemic of obesity among the country's child and adolescent population. The National Non-Communicable Chronic Disease Commission has organized a 1-day national consultation targeting all sectors of society, to be held at the National Stadium Hospitality Center on Thursday, January 24th from 8:30 a.m. Statistics from the World Health Organization shows that Grenada is suffering a similar fate to the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, where the rates of overweight and obesity in children aged 0 to 4 years doubled from 7.4% to 14.8% between the year 2000 and 2010. Dr. Sonia Nixon is the head of the Anti-Childhood Obesity Consultation Planning Committee. She says there must be a change in the method of operation to ensure children are healthy.
Children should be exercising 30 minutes a day. How many of us do that? How many parents actually ensures that? So this is really looking at it and see how we can come with a plan, getting everybody to bring their ideas to the fore from their points of view and coming up, because we do have some guidelines, but how does Grenada approach this problem of obesity that we have among our children.
The decision by the National Chronic Disease Commission has been motivated by the experiences and information shared at a meeting in Jamaica last year, which spoke to the alarming rates of obesity in children and adolescents in the region and worldwide. Scientific evidence points to a direct link between obesity and the onset of chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and cancer.
We are looking at our needs. The whole region is moving in that direction. So we're keeping together as part of our Carriacou, as part of the world, a part of the region. But this is our drive to make sure that our people are protected. And using guidelines that PAHO has worked for us, but let us make it very Grenadian.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The Grenada government is committed to improving the lives of citizens. Government announces early payment of January salaries for public officers.
Traditionally, government would make payments to public officers on the second to last day of the month. In this case, for January 2019, we have decided to make early payments to public officers on the 21st of this month. This has not been done in over a decade.
Public officers to get a 4% salary increase.
You would recall that the government would have negotiated with the trade unions for a 10% increase for public officers over a 3-year period. 2017, 3%, 2018, 3%, and 2019, 4%. We would kick off the 4% payment, which is to the tune of $6.7 million on January 21st, 2019.
January salaries to include increments.
Every year, public officers move incrementally in their pay and grade scale. This year, we are paying increments to the tune of $3.6 million, and that would also be included in the January 21st payment.
Will pensioners also benefit?
Pensioners' income is indexed to the salary increases of the public officers. So the 4% increase that public officers is due for 2019, pensioners would also benefit from that 4% increase.
Your government at work, delivering on promises made.
Continuing the news, motorists will have to pay just a few cents more at the pump as of Friday, January 18th. The price of gasoline now costs $14.70 per gallon, just 3 cents more than the previous price of $14.67. Diesel costs just 1 cent more at $15.02 and kerosene 2 cents more at $9.41. The 20-pound cylinder of gas remains at the current price of $40. Over in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, the price of gasoline also experienced a 3-cent increase. And finally, the National Grenada Brain Bee Challenge, which proudly had one of its finalists, Giovanni de Gans, placed second in the 2018 International Final in Berlin, is currently hosting the 2018-2019 round of the Grenada Brain Bee Challenge. Details from Annette Moore.
The zonal competition got off to a great start on January 9th at the J.W. Fletcher Memorial Catholic School, with 6 schools participating in the event, including the J.W. Fletcher Memorial Catholic Secondary, the Grenada Boys Secondary School, Westerhall Secondary, Presentation Brothers College, Hillsborough Secondary, and Westmoreland Secondary School.
This year marked 10 years since Brain Bee has started in Grenada. So let's give ourselves a big applause.
The National Brain Bee competition is based on neuroscience, and questions posed relate to the brain, its functions, and more.
To what stimulus does the somatic nervous system respond to?
Touch.
That is correct. Which part of the brain regulates timing of movement?
The cerebellum.
That is correct. What is the name of the nerve which leads from the ear to the brain?
Auditory nerve.
That is correct.
The zonal competition consists of 2 phases of quizzing. All material used for the questions are based on content from the Brain Facts book used by participants for their preparation. The top 3 emerging from the competition were Nikesh Andal of Westerhall Secondary School in 3rd place, Giovanni Thomas of J.W. Fletcher Memorial Catholic School in 2nd, and Rakiba Caton Bain of Westmoreland Secondary in 1st position.
Well, the experience was it was good, and I believe I've reached here because I've prayed to Him daily.
A lot of euphoria. And for those who don't know what that means, it basically means I'm happy and excited. Very, very excited. A lot of the questions were a bit more easier than I thought it would have been. So I think I over-prepared for the competition, although I did get some questions wrong and not really answer within the time frame.
I believe that the competition is very competitive. I could tell that every student put their every all into it, and it has been a joy to participate.
This year, 6 participants instead of 3 advanced to the finals. Other schools advancing are the Grenada Boys Secondary School, the Presentation Brothers College, and Hillsborough Secondary School in Carriacou. All students involved were presented with certificates of participation, and those moving forward were given additional awards. The chief judge is Dr. Karen Blackman, and the quizmaster of almost 5 years is Dr. Gabrielle Walcott-Bedeau.
Firstly, I think the students had an excellent grasp of the general concepts. I think they were able to hold their own in terms of they knew what the questions were asking. What I think will give them the edge now is the details, the specific details. That is where they'll need to brush up on a little bit more as the competition gets a little bit more fierce.
This year also marks Carriacou's re-emergence into the Brain Bee competition. Hillsborough Secondary's Brain Bee coach, herself a past participant, was excited about their re-entry.
We found it fitting to try to reintegrate ourselves back in a competition of this caliber. We think that the students will learn quite a bit from it. They have already been saying that the knowledge that they have been gathering through studying already helps them in the sciences, in biology in particular.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
The Grenada government is committed to improving the lives of citizens. Government announces early payment of January salaries for public officers.
Traditionally, government would make payments to public officers on the second to last day of the month. In this case, for January 2019, we have decided to make early payments to public officers on the 21st of this month. This has not been done in over a decade.
Public officers to get a 4% salary increase.
You would recall that the government would have negotiated with the trade unions for a 10% increase for public officers over a 3-year period. 2017, 3%, 2018, 3%, and 2019, 4%. We would kick off the 4% payment, which is to the tune of $6.7 million on January 21st, 2019.
January salaries to include increments.
Every year, public officers move incrementally in their pay and grade scale. This year, we are paying increments to the tune of $3.6 million, and that would also be included in the January 21st payment.
Will pensioners also benefit?
Pensioners' income is indexed to the salary increases of the public officers. So the 4% increase that public officers is due for 2019, pensioners would also benefit from that 4% increase.
Your government at work, delivering on promises made.
It's coming!
It's coming!
It's coming!
It's coming!
It's coming!
It's coming!
There has been a lot of discussion about the proposed changes to the pension system in Grenada. It's quite a complicated subject, so we thought we would help to explain some of the key points over a series of short videos like this one. The first thing we need to do is to understand where we are, where we have come from, and where we want to go. Grenada has emerged from one of the most successful structural adjustment programs ever, certainly in the Caribbean. The government did this while enacting programs to protect its citizens, with reductions in income tax, removal of income tax on pensions, and increases in wages. But most importantly, they did all of this without the loss of a single job. We only need to look around at our neighbours to see what a remarkable achievement this really is. Barbados, for example, had a 10-year wage freeze and workers only received a 5% increase after elections. But this was very quickly followed by significant job cuts. In Grenada, we have had numerous increases over the last 10 years, even as we went through the structural adjustment, and again, not a single job was lost. The government has also honoured its commitments to pensioners in all cases. The case of Mrs. Armstrong proves this point. The government has honoured the interpretation of the courts and paid out all monies due to ensure that the letter of the law has been followed. Two of the main areas of concern are the issue of gratuities and the issue of retirement age, and we're going to do separate videos to explain each of these in more detail, but the main things to remember are these. A gratuity is not a bonus. It's much more like a loan. A person retiring gets to take some of their money sooner rather than later and pays this back over time. This can be both good and bad. More money now means less money later, and we will discuss the issues surrounding this in our next video. But the key thing to remember is that the percentage of the gratuity doesn't change the amount that someone will receive. It only changes the timing of when they will receive it, and that too much too soon will leave too little later on. In relation to the second item, retirement age, it is no secret that everyone is living longer, and much of this is due to better healthcare, better nutrition, a safer working environment, and other government policies that protect people and help them to live longer and more active lives. That's the important part. People aren't just living longer, they're aging more slowly, and many still want to contribute beyond the current retirement age. Grenada has actually been rather late in changing its retirement age. Dominica is at 62. Trinidad and Jamaica are at 65. And in Barbados, the current age of retirement is now 67. There is also another matter of fiscal prudence. Because people are living longer in retirement, the total amounts paid out by government are increasing, and this needs to be balanced against the money that is coming in to ensure that each and every Grenadian can receive the retirement benefits that they are entitled to. And in many ways, that is what this discussion is all about. We need to ensure that whatever policies we agree to now are sustainable, and that they will work now and into the future. Let's think about all these things.
What are the facts? Are all public workers entitled to pension? Are public workers owed gratuity? Here are the facts. Fact 1. The Pension Disqualification Act of 1983 was validated on April 21, 1985 by the democratically elected government, led by former Prime Minister Herbert A. Blaize. This means that public workers employed after February 22, 1985 are not legally entitled to a pension from the government of Grenada. Fact 2. The judgment in the Hermelin Armstrong case does not create legal precedents for the reinstatement of pension to public workers employed after February 22, 1985. The judgment created a legal precedence only for those workers who joined the public service in a pensionable post between April 4, 1983 and February 22, 1985. There were 56 such workers. The government restored pension to those 56 workers in 2018 at a cost of $7.7 million. Fact 3. All officers employed in a pensionable post who joined the service after February 22, 1985 are not legally entitled to a pension from government. They are only entitled to a pension from NIS once they meet the necessary requirements as per the NIS Act. Fact 4. The Cabinet's decision in 2016 to reform pension is rooted in moral and social justice principles, and it is not a legal obligation. Therefore, any agreement on pension is a win for public workers. Fact 5. The MOU signed between government, the unions, and the staff associations in February and March 2018 stated that the pension regime which will be implemented must be affordable and sustainable. Fact 6. The proposed pension regime for public workers employed between February 22, 1985 and December 31, 2018, as stated in the MOU, is a non-contributory pension plan. Therefore, No deductions will be taken from workers' salaries to finance their pension from government. Pensioners also benefit from any future negotiated salary increases. Fact 7. It was agreed by all parties that a worker's annual pension would be a minimum of 70% of their final salary to be paid jointly by the NIS and the government of Grenada. Fact 8. Government is not obligated to offer an advanced pension payment, commonly called a gratuity. Government has proposed to make an advanced pension payment of 2% of full pension, an amount it can practically and reasonably afford given its current and projected revenue stream. It should be noted that an advanced pension payment is a non-interest-bearing loan that the government grants to the pensioner, which must then be repaid in equal monthly installments in the form of a reduced monthly pension over 12.5 years. Fact 9. Under the proposed 2% advanced pension payment or gratuity, retirees will be entitled to a higher monthly pension than if a larger advanced payment was given. Fact 10. If the government accommodates any higher rate of gratuity, the implications would be severe for the country, as this will translate to higher taxes such as VAT, income tax and property tax, higher import duties, the possibility that hundreds of millions of dollars in grants would be lost, lower expenditure in critical areas such as healthcare, agriculture, roadworks and youth development, retrenchment of workers. These are the facts. Government is committed to an amicable resolution to the pension matter for the good of all Grenadians.
You do in 30 minutes. You could be on one of our 45 black and white sand beaches, or perched atop a lush mountainside admiring our stunning coastline, or slicing the Caribbean Sea on a traditionally built sloop, or adventuring off the beaten path, or hanging out with our underwater sculptures, or do nothing at all. Whatever you choose, an amazing vacation is only 30 minutes away in Grenada. Visit www.puregrenada.com.
The Grenada government is committed to improving the lives of citizens. Government announces early payment of January salaries for public officers.
Traditionally, government would make payments to public officers on the second to last day of the month. In this case, for January 2019, we have decided to make early payments to public officers on the 21st of this month. This has not been done in over a decade.
Public officers to get a 4% salary increase.
You would recall that the government would have negotiated with the trade unions for a 10% increase for public officers over a 3-year period. 2017, 3%, 2018, 3%, and 2019, 4%. We would kick off the 4% payment, which is to the tune of $6.7 million on January 21st, 2019.
January salaries to include increments.
Every year, public officers move incrementally in their pay and grade scale. This year, we are paying increments to the tune of $3.6 million, and that would also be included in the January 21st payment.
Will pensioners also benefit?
Pensioners income is indexed to the salary increases of the public officers. So the 4% increase that public officers is due for 2019, pensioners would also benefit from that 4% increase.
Your government at work, delivering on promises made.
Calypso music is suddenly strong. When the heat of the rhythm penetrate your soul, jump up, come on, jump up. It will bring you joyfulness way out of this world. Jump up, let me see you. Jump up. Happiness I bring to you. Music from the king, so true. Oh baby, come let me party. Let me boogie, baby. Come let me party. Honey, honey, honey. So the music inside your brain is gonna drive you crazy. Crazy, crazy. No doctor can find you complain. You better hold on steady. It's only me to give you the remedy.
And good morning to Grenada, Carriacou and Martinique once again. We're back with Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
And I'm Devon Romaine.
Yeah, and we have two people in the studio with us. We're going to introduce to you in a very short while. It is a beautiful Monday on the Isle of Spice, the place that's nice, you know. Yeah. You don't have to die to go to heaven, just come Grenada.
No, just come Grenada, you're in heaven already.
Especially those of you out there in Canada, minus 30 degrees.
And New York.
Why do we there?
I'm sorry. It's a bad time to be out there.
What are you doing in them kind of place there?
I understand. And
minus 30 degrees, you know.
Yeah. Beautiful Grenada, sun hot, kicking. And you out there?
All you say, all you go pile something on it, you know. All you go under it, you know. Minus 30 degrees. Why doing that?
Good morning, Sonia and Chris and all you guys out there. Hey.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't say I'm enjoying it for you all, but
Watch. You know, let me play a song for them. All you get together and all you just sing this one. Let's just sing this song together.
Come. Everybody come, let we go back home. Let we go back home. Let we go back home. Everybody come. Let we go back home. Festival, yeah. Bacchanal, oh yeah. That don't missing me at all. Mad fun, yeah. In the hot sun, oh yeah. I wish it would never done. After freezing up in the winter, no places could be better. I'm packing my stuff cause I've had enough. Falling up on my friends and tell them to come. Let we go back home. Everybody come, let we go back home. Let we go back home.
Okay, enough of that. Back to serious business this morning. So good morning to all our online listeners. Remember to like and share the video. Of course, you're seeing Devon is back in studio with us. Yes. I would like to thank the various radio stations for joining us this morning. 97.5 CitysoundFM,
89.5 CRFM,
in Carriacou, Sister Isle FM 92.9.
And in Brooklyn, New York, WeiVybz Radio 94.9.
Yeah, I heard they had the brunch in New York this weekend, and it was a massive success. We'd like to congratulate all of you. AC Major, Alan, good morning to you, and good morning to all of the others out there in beautiful Brooklyn.
Beautiful, but cold.
Yeah, right now they can't say Brooklyn. That's Brooklyn. Yeah, that's what I say.
Trembling.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Folks, we've got in studio with us two individuals from the Independence Celebrations Committee. I'll introduce the young lady and let her introduce the young man. So we're introducing Miss Wendy Edmond. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Sheldon, and of course the wider public listening audience. Good morning.
Yes, and we allow you to
and
introduce
of course,
our chair.
Of course, our chair, Mr. John Williams, and of course, we're here this morning to talk Independence Celebration 2019.
Good morning, good morning. I'm glad I'm with Wendy. She knows everybody, so I don't have to worry.
No.
I am so happy to be around Wendy. She knows everyone. But good morning, everyone. Good morning to your listeners, and good to be on your show, Sheldon.
Well,
good to be here, everyone. Just both of you. Of course,
we know weekend. Weekend there was the motorcade. How did that go?
Oh well, spectacular.
And I should be ashamed to ask the question.
Of course, I was just wondering why.
Should be ashamed to ask the question.
So let me just kick off. The motorcade went exceptionally well. But what I want to do, I want to just big up the people, individuals, collectively who are responsible. First of all, I want to thank the sponsors. We want to thank Glenelg Natural Spring Waters. We want to thank Grenada Breweries Limited. We want to thank Grenada Bottling Company. These three organizations have always been supportive of our celebrations, and especially when it comes to a motorcade. I want to make sure that our persons are well taken care of. So I want to say a very, very, very big thank you so much to Glenelg again, Grenada Breweries and the Grenada Bottling Company for staying with us, being with us, and continuing to work with us. We also want to thank the constituency. They were very, very helpful in sending out, supporting by way of providing persons, buses. We had over 18 buses, I would imagine, filled with people. We've had support from the National Celebrations Committee, and I must thank the committee because I've been on this for about 3 years, but they came out in particular, everyone's favorite, Wendy. And we want to thank Kelvin, we want to thank Jerry, we want to thank Tonya, Marcella, we want to thank Cheryl, and I don't think I missed anyone else. And all of the
Big Pumps.
Big Pumps. Oh yeah.
Exceptional.
We got a big Pump. Big Pump really. Listen, this guy knows everyone. He knows everyone in the communities, and he was able to journey with us from start to finish. And we want to say a big thank you to you, Big Pump. Also, we want to thank RGPF. They provided us with an police escort all the way around the island. Okay. And
because we had a prisoner loose at the point in time.
Yeah, exactly. So that was helpful, eh?
Yeah, we had to make sure. I mean, they got him now. He's back in.
Yes,
back in handcuffs.
All of us feeling better now about that. Yes, but so I want to thank him, thank RGPF, and everyone else who supported the motorcade. And we know that next year is going to be bigger and better.
Oh, yes.
So we want to big them all up and say thank you. But I think you guys are wicked. To the people in Canada and America, oh gosh, you are terrible. Oh,
no, you see that's Brooklyn, yeah, and myself some in Boston too. Canada, Toronto.
Oh, great to be here.
Yeah, the thing is this that they're looking on. And we have the various independence activities that will be taking place in these territories as well. So we expect to hear a bit from them over the next couple of weeks. And so we know there's some stuff for independence in the New York State area and so on. So we expect to hear from them. So we try to send as much of the sunshine as we can to them.
Okay, I understand. I just understand. But I think you guys are wicked, you know.
Yeah, we're just cruel.
Yeah, making them feel so cold. But there you go.
Well, so we're not even mentioning London. I'm sorry, Blossom. We're not mentioning London. Okay, we know it's always cold over there.
Yeah, but no, London's 4 seasons in one day. You know, don't be surprised if you call now and they tell you they're walking around in shirt sleeve in London. London is a country where you don't. It's unlike Canada, America, or other places. Unpredictable. Today you wake up in freezing cold. Tomorrow is sunbathing. That is the unpredictability of the 4 seasons in one day in London.
Which is why we like to be here.
Why do I have to go anywhere?
Yeah, exactly. Where do you have
2 seasons? Rain, sun.
Rain,
sun. Rain.
Little wind.
Sometimes we might have
the wind. Don't fight the wind.
Wet and dry.
The wind in between. Yeah.
But kite season coming just now, so we know. Yeah. Only do fly no kite over my place. That thing annoying when I go and put this noise. I love kites, but that noise. Yeah. Take it down in the night. Right. Nice. So we have various activities that are coming up. We know we mentioned the motorcade on the
yes,
weekend.
That's happened on the 19th.
And we'd like to congratulate all of the corporate sponsors who have shown their patriotism and become part of the activity to ensure its success. And this week, what do we have coming up this week?
Okay.
Well, of course, coming from the hype with the motorcade, we thank everybody, those who joined us on the way, because not just the buses that were provided for persons who, would have fallen short in terms of wanting to support and could not have made it because of numerous reasons. But we had persons who joined us along the way. We had persons who were coming out of their houses and waving their flags. Persons were waiting for the motorcade because they were, they were outside and you could see they had on their colors. Some had their flags. We passed about 2, 3, 4 little boys together, somewhere in St. John, and they had their flags. They were waiting for the motorcade to come to their area. So again, thanks to everybody for the support and the love shown on Saturday. And we urge you to continue supporting the upcoming events for Independence Celebration 2019. We do have a packed list, but however, we would have scaled it down to the major ones because we would not have time to run through everything that we have here. So we have some major events that we're going to be hosting, and we're kindly asking your support throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and to Petit Martinique, of course. So our next event will be this coming Saturday. That will be at the Soteres bus terminus from 8 p.m. It's the 45th anniversary Calypso competition. And we're urging persons to come out in their numbers and support. Now, 14 Calypsonians will be vying for the title of Independence Calypso Monarch.
How many?
14.
14?
Mm-hmm.
A big show?
Yeah. Almost, bigger than the March Gras.
Fellas, all you need to send all the songs. We don't have all the songs.
Yes.
So don't get vexed when I'm playing thing from the 1980s and 90s. Because all you sending all the songs. All right, nice.
Right, and imagine 28 would have entered, and then we had to scale it down to 14, coming up against the reigning king, Independence King, which is Rootsman Kelly. He will be defending this year. So guys, y'all got to come real tough, because all you know, Rootsman don't make joke when it comes to Calypso. And we have some new and upcoming Calypsonians who have taken the opportunity to come on board. We also have 2 females. I think that's Miss Jermaine Simon, the superstar, and Alicia Alexis. Right, so we have 2 female in the mix. So let's see what's going to happen. Where there is woman, there is kin competition. So come out and support that, and that's going to be at the Soteres bus terminus 8 p.m. There is not a cost, right? It's I don't know. It's a free show. Yeah, it is.
It's in the bus terminus?
Yes, it's a free show. It's an open,
support the bar.
Support the bar.
All right.
It's just an opportunity for persons, to come out and share and show their patriotism in song. And we now also move to the cultural extravaganza. Now that's going to be held on 2nd of February. That's the next Saturday at the Grenville bus terminus from 7 p.m. Now, at that extravaganza, this committee has placed a lot of emphasis this time around in terms of highlighting our rich traditional culture. A lot of these aspects of our country has been depleted, and they're dying, and we want to ensure. Remember, independence is not just about the 7th of February. It is what happens on that day, which is highlighting our history and our culture throughout the diaspora and everywhere, so that persons can, there are certain things within our communities in terms of culture that we don't even know. Because coming to Grenada last year was the first time I've ever heard about Tilingo. I've never heard of that in my entire life.
Of what?
Tilingo. I never heard of that,
She said coming to Grenada like if she coming from South Africa.
No, that's just to tell you.
You're coming from Canada. Or she's coming from somewhere in France.
Right. That's just to show how bad it is. I'm right there in Carriacou, and I've never heard about anything called Tilingo. Understand? So just imagine someone coming from abroad.
Tell people it's Tilingo, because I don't know.
It's this dance. It's a dance. You make
the woman and they do a little swirl around.
No, it's a group of persons, and you're dancing in line, and you have to interchange, that kind of thing. I'm not.
Okay.
But anyway,
you know what it is.
I know what it is.
You can explain how to do it.
No.
All right.
I've been trying to figure out what it is they're doing. But anyways, like I said, this committee has been bent on just looking beyond just celebrating on the day. we're trying to ensure hopefully next year we're going to have a leaflet or, you know, a booklet whereby we start gathering historical events and history on Grenada. So, you know, by the time maybe the next 5 years, which is the 50th, we might be able to have a booklet of Grenada history, both culturally and politically as well. So, coming from that, we're going to move to the St. George's Anglican Church, 3 p.m. on Sunday, February 3rd. That's where we are going to gather as a people to give Almighty God thanks and praise for taking us through from since 1974 to 2019. Grenada has been through the rough, the tough, the smooth, the not so good, but yet we continue to strive as a nation. We continue to do, you know, what it takes to take us to that next step as a nation. And so we want to thank God for taking us thus far. Now, it's a National Economical Service. So, persons, there's no excuse to say you're not Anglican, so you can't go. Any denomination, you are welcome to come as we gather as a people and say thanks to God for taking us yet to another year. We want to also, you know, it's a wonderful time for Grenada. We have not been through any major hurricanes or disaster or, you know, political turmoil or so in the past 45 years. And so, I mean, in the past, I won't say 45 years, but in recent times. And we just want to thank God for that as well. So come out, persons. Starting time is 3 p.m. And also we have the beautification and oil long competition. And that's going to be held on the 5th. On the 5th of February, it's going to be held island-wide. Now, I'll let Mr. Chairman speak to that because we have made some changes to how we are going to execute the 2019 Independence, Beautification and Oil Long Competition.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. Yes, basically what we're looking at, instead of people going around just painting a stone, painting a coconut tree and just painting everywhere, we have asked them to have it project related. So each constituency is required to identify a project, come together, identify a project, and that project is meant to be sustainable. So in other words, whatever material they use or how are they going to do it is going to be on the basis of a project related. So come next year, the following year, it would be something that would be ongoing. And I would imagine within the next 2-3 years, they can look back and say, when we started, it was this, and now look at where we are. So we are encouraging all the constituencies. We've developed guidelines. We've developed criteria so that the judges, and the persons involved, the constituency will know exactly what are the expectations, what are the requirements, the do's and the don'ts, you know, what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, and thereby encouraging this community spirit. So all of the constituencies will come together. They will be judged, both the oil down, as well as for the beautification. We're very excited about that because in the past we've had work done on that level, but it's been very ad hoc.
Indiscriminate.
Yeah, very indiscriminate.
Painting.
Many people have complained about places being painted with, or not to have been painted, you know, but people get very excited, you know, at this time of the year, we get very excited about
paint everything.
Stones,
give people a chance to paint and people tombstone and all.
If you don't stand long enough, you get painted. So what we say to them, yes, go ahead, allow for the enthusiasm to run, but let's try and make it related to a project so that come next year, or not just next year, come sometime, we in February, say maybe in Carnival, around Carnival, or December, you can still continue to maintain that project. So at the end of the day, the community benefits and everyone within the constituency benefits. And then maybe for the following year, they can move on to something else and then have them jointly run concurrently. So that is the idea, sustainability, and to allow for all of the constituencies and all of us here in Grenada to get involved, nice up our place, and make sure that we do ourselves and our community proud. So that is the difference we're looking at for 2019 in relation to that.
And then on the 7th, that's the big day, that's the birthday, Independence Day rally, military parade, and of course Made in Grenada Expo. That's going to be what's happening on the actual birthday of Grenada's independence. Now, Thursday, February 7th, when you enter, from the time you enter Greenbridge, right, at the car park, well, we must announce that this year we would move from the cricket stadium to the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, and that is to accommodate ongoing upgrade at the cricket stadium, because remember on the 25th and 27th of February we're looking at hosting the international games. So, you know, we don't want to mix up business and pleasure. All right. Anyway, so on that day we are going to be having the Made in Grenada Expo, the military parade, and the rally, and following those we'll have a cultural package and of course the most anticipated fireworks.
Okay. And we've been speaking to, for the military parade, the police, we said we were made to understand every 5 years they do something special, which is called Troop in the Colors. So that is something that the police are working on to make it a little bit different from the routine. Flavor. And that is something we're looking forward to.
Can I ask a question though? Now that the athletic stadium is being used, and let me call it athletic stadium correctly, the Carriacou James Athletic Stadium.
That is the correct one.
Morning, Carriacou. Right. I hope everything going good. We're looking, you know, April, May, we go see you on the track. Right. Nice. Good. So the Carriacou James Athletic Stadium, the track at the stadium, are measures being put in place to protect the track. Because as we know, we have a Class 1 stadium. Of course. And military boots marching on the track or vehicles passing on the bear track is a definite
that has been covered.
Everything has all the logistics,
the stadium authority
and everything.
there. We've had a site visit last week, so we've looked at all of that. It's going to cost us a lot more money as the committee, but we have put systems in place to protect the track.
It cost Grenada a lot more money if you had to fix it back.
Of course, definitely.
You're talking roughly about $2 million just for the track.
A lot of money. So we're mindful there are activities coming up. Yeah. You know, so we want to make sure. So that's been taken care of, definitely. So wonderful. That is going to be at the on the 7th. And one thing, you know, just to add to what Wendy said, the area of the car park, we hope to have it transformed into a little cultural village, because in previous years, you know, we've always had the Made in Grenada Expo underneath the covered way in the stadium. Now that we are not able to, so we're now using that area. So we hope to have that area nicely decorated and looking good for the all of the commercial exhibitions.
That's the car park on the northern side of the stadium.
Yes, the western side that overlooks the you know, as you enter the stadium, you have ABC. As you enter that area.
Well, that's the northern, because it's pointed north. So
right. Okay. About backs onto the western road. Yeah. And so that is going to be transformed, and hopefully to accommodate, we have to have it done in a way to accommodate parking, VIP parking, accommodate the expo, and to have some cultural sort of traditional activities. So as people enter, there is something special as they enter into that area.
What are some of the other cultural activities that people can look forward to?
Right. Well, we have an assortment of it.
Yes, we have from Carriacou, of course. We have quadrille, we have string band, and we have made contact with Big Drum. Of course, that's one of Carriacou's main...
I could have just asked me to dance Big Drum.
And
what the ground and girl,
yeah, we have short knee.
We have short knee. We have maypole dancing.
We have all of the traditions you can think about. It's very detailed. And talking about that, we hope that it's going to be so well structured that we wouldn't go over time. Because following the military parade, we don't want it to go on too long. I have people sitting there and walking out.
Right.
So the activities is prior to the pre-activities. Then we have the military parade. We have the rally. And the culture package is for about an hour straight, and hopefully by 6:30, 6:45, fireworks. So by latest 7 o'clock, people should be making their way home. So it's well put together, and we're very excited about that, because some Calypsonians, we're going to be singing primarily independent songs, because that is independent. Songs. We say it's very patriotic. It's not Soca Monarch or Calypso Monarch. So we want to put a lot of emphasis on that. So it's a well-packed activity, so people don't come to the stadium feeling bored. And sitting there waiting for things to happen. Once the band, the police contingent comes on, it's all systems go.
Wonderful.
Do we have any external participation from, for example, we usually have from different militaries, either the US or the Venezuelan or
right. We were originally we were expecting to have a fly past by the Canadians, But they've since notified us stating that they have a commitment came to light that they were unable to do both. So right now, as we speak, there is nothing that we have from any of the military bodies for that.
Wonderful. You mentioned the cultural aspect, and I understand the cultural aspect of the dance and the songs and so on. There are some aspects of our culture that we are slowly losing, and I'll direct them to exactly some of the games that you may have played as a child. That when these are little girls,
she just started. She just come
Devon may have played as a child.
Yeah, but I can't speak to it.
For instance, a top, making a top out of wood and spinning a top. It may sound insignificant, but there's no one. I doubt seriously that I can find a single child in secondary school right now on the island of Grenada or Carriacou that knows how to make one and use it. A yo-yo, as well, and many people wonder where's as well, but you know what I mean when I say as well, right? With the crown cork, right?
That's right.
To make as well.
Don't forget buttons.
Buttons, you could use buttons, and these sort of things. Seeing that you would have an audience that includes a lot of young people there, has anything been put in place or considered or can be considered to have these sort of items? Either you have somebody showing how they are made and how they are used at an activity like that, because they are part of our cultural identity that we're losing. Children now, their games are no longer tops and yo-yo and these sort of things. Now it's the computer, and the computer. The internet, and the internet. So it's gone internal instead of external. Years ago, the parents used to be, go inside. These days, it's go outside. So it's reversed.
The other way around.
It's reversed.
So what could we, is there anything like that being considered, even if not for this year, for next year or the years to come? Because it may be just a couple of weeks now, so it might be a bit too late to get people the man who does make the cocoa loot, or these different people, or show somebody how to fly a cocoa leaf as a kite. Then when I can fly a cocoa leaf?
Well, Sheldon, what we would have done, and I'm happy that you brought up those ideas as well, because it's something that this committee is looking into. Like we're saying as a committee, the mandate is not to just celebrate the 7th. The mandate is to try to document and bring back a lot of our traditional culture. You speak about the games and so forth, the history of our country and so on. So moving forward for 2020 independence, we're looking at doing stuff prior to Independence 2020. And these are some of the things we are working on. We're trying to, as we go along and we get suggestions from the public, we're trying to note it so that, let's say, maybe December, November, thereabout, October, November, thereabout, we can probably work with the schools to, get somebody who knows how to do that. So we can do a documentary of one, do events where we can keep it on records. Whether get the videos of having someone, maybe you, Sheldon, might want to go and show the young children in one of the schools how to make a top.
I ain't that old.
Sheldon can make
I hear about it. I hear about it.
So we want when next year come for independence, we have a lot more to showcase. We want to be able to have something we can put on record, as these are the independent. These are the products of Grenada, both historically and culturally. So we're happy.
Because I think independence is a lot about your individual identity as a nation. What makes us as Grenadians, Carriacouians, Petit Martinicans, or just Grenadians on a whole? What makes us different from somebody who comes from Trinidad or the island of Tobago? What is the difference between us and somebody that comes from St. Vincent? That individual identity. Apart from the accents and so that sometimes we say, you're talking bad, but I always have a problem with that. Right. I don't believe anybody talks bad. Yeah, yes, I know how to use the Queen's English when I have to. But we're not talking to my people, we're talking about our people. The Jamaicans are very proud of how they talk.
Oh, yes.
And we should be proud of how we speak as well. Yes, you know the Queen's English, you have to use it when
it's necessary.
But when we have to talk like ourselves, we're talking like ourselves. Yeah?
Why not?
So, yeah, I understand that. So I believe that our own individual identity needs to come out in our independence celebrations. And I'm hoping that I don't hear my friends come out and play any North American tunes. Police band, I listen all in, waiting. Let me hear any kind of foreign tune playing.
Well, we also have pan music, still pan music playing upon arrival inside of the stadium on the day.
Angel Haps?
Well, Angel Haps and there's another, they're going to be interchanging.
Wizard's going to be there too.
Pan Wizards?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Pan
and
Wizards.
they're going to be...
River Road close to the stadium. Can't not have them, eh?
Less expensive.
And we're ensuring that whatever pieces are to be done during our independence activities has to be patriotic songs, patriotic pieces in terms of dances and so on, things that depicts our culture and our history.
All right, wonderful.
Even the songs, you know, sometimes you bring a dance group to dance and they choose to sing, dance into something from Jamaica or... No, we don't want that. Yeah.
Local.
Total local.
Yeah. Devon is about to ask you, ever study under Flambeau?
Flambeau, yes.
Sorry, Masanto. Let me say Masanto. Yeah, man.
Big time.
As you mentioned, Flambeau, there's going to be a display, a Flambeau march in Grenville on the 2nd of February.
Wow!
So that's going to open the extravaganza. So they're going to march into the venue, and that's when the event is going to start.
You see, we're such a beautiful, quiet, and peaceful country that when people see people walking with bottles with wicks and fire on it, you know it's just a peaceful. It's a Masanto. It's a Masanto thing.
It's not a cocktail. Not a
country. It's a lot of cocktail run.
Yeah.
So, we know, and the thing is, after Hurricane Ivan, the knowledge of how to make a proper Masanto became so very important to a lot of people for an extended period of time. So we speak of these things and some people say, but what we need them whole thing for?
You just never know.
But after Ivan, it was very necessary.
Wasn't it?
The kerosene lamp.
For a long time too.
We had to pull
you have to make sure you
turn
wick properly.
And everything.
Right. It became important knowledge for the average Grenadian.
Yeah, we went back there, didn't we? We went back to the good old days, didn't we?
Yeah, for a long period of time for some of us too.
Made sure we were sent back whether we liked it or not.
A reality check.
Yeah. Get back to reality, mate.
I've heard of many of the activities there. One of the activities I have to ask about that I didn't hear mentioned is Wednesday, the National Youth Parliament. Is that still on?
That is still on. Mr. Chair will speak to that.
Very excited about that one.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, that's been worked on for weeks now. So it's in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth. So we're looking for a packed house. Invitations have gone out to, we're expecting to have members of Parliament, cabinet ministers there, dignitaries, and from what I've been told, I've not been to any of the rehearsals, but they're all ready for Wednesday, and they have been working. We even have a representative from Carriacou who's going to be part of the debate. So that is something we're looking forward to on Wednesday at the Parliament building, and the young people, I'm sure they're going to make us proud. The level of debate, of course, the level of debate and discussion. And we are looking forward to that on Wednesday, the 23rd.
Okay.
At the
that one, it's called a kokorigi. That's what they call a cocoa fly?
Yeah, the cocoa fly.
I never know the proper name, right? It's a kokorigi.
Yeah, kokorigi.
So you have a kokorigi flying competition on the Easter. Who could fly the best?
Yeah, you have the big ones. We used to have to go all to the mountains.
What's kokorigi?
That's a cocoa leaf.
You're flying a cocoa leaf as a kite?
The cocoa leaf, you fly it as a kite. You the thread on the top and you put plastic, tear the plastic and make it a tail, or a thin piece of cloth and you fly.
The average child want a drone right now. They ain't into that. They want a drone.
So we probably need to host a specific day where all these games and so forth could be highlighted.
The pitching of the marbles and so.
Mr. Chairman, we have to look into that.
All these things and them.
Yes.
We have so many scooters around. I mean, with gasoline, we used to make the scooters and so with the bearings from the vehicles, right? And so just like the motorbikes and.
I know about the milk tin, the milk pan.
Well, a lot of people that you're looking around right now at a certain age have a lot of scars and bruises.
From those things.
Yeah, there's some coming down the hill and something with them and so on.
What I used to remember in school was the turtle back.
You go up in
you go up on the hill and you come down in the ginny grass.
And we used to make those from the tins, you know, used to cut the cover off. The sharpened ends, pierce a hole through it, and
The
zoom.
Zoom.
And I started to think, how did we do that? You know,
it's creative.
They just, but it was great. In every school, every boy had one of those.
There's a special season for all of those
do it
games,
with mango seed. And mango seed, and that's when you get the noise with a mango seed. Yeah, you get the really
donkey eye. You
I remember all of them.
scratch it and you burn somebody.
Or give people a clean out with sandbox.
So there's a lot to be featured. There's a lot.
So we just have to try to put it into a package. But another thing we've said in all of these ideas, we've been hearing it. So we're hoping that we would be able to create an email, some form of communication system, Sheldon and Devon, so that we can have people send in ideas and suggestions,
questions,
so that we can package it and say, yeah, these we can try. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? So come independence, we will have spoken to people, we will have had plans and systems put in place, so that we will be able to announce and say to people, when you get to the stadium or before, as when you say prior to, this is what be taking place. Come along, have fun, get youngsters to learn how to do various things, so we can revisit some of our traditions.
So
Because
them
we
can
don't
play
want to lose it.
hopscotch. So them can play moral.
And what is unique to it with us,
Chinese skip.
a lot of these things that we're talking about, in every different parish, it is unique. Sometimes it's done slightly different.
Yeah.
So that will make it much more exciting and
it's like the mangoes. You go to one community, they call it one name.
Exactly.
You go somewhere else, and it's another name. It's the same mango. So yes, we can do that. Just make sure.
Sheldon also
Carriacou. Now
Carriacou.
Calavini mango are good.
Hey, what's wrong with Calavini mango?
I love it.
What's wrong with Cali? Well, there's not. That's you should walk with the flowers. Sheldon, of all of the mangoes, Cali is Grenadian.
Oh yes, it's the
That's
best.
our mangoes. All these Julie,
especially if you're going to the beach, you soak it in the salt water.
Nice.
You've got to be able
it's
to.
It's enough for the mangoes to enjoy. One thing we have is a lot of different varieties.
Starchy and Palwi and Shebo and Bef and all. But different types of starchy. You have different types of starchy, so you might be more.
Once he gets a good Cali, you wouldn't want to go anywhere else. You got to get a right Cali. You haven't had a good Cali.
Not like foreign mango.
They grow in here.
They grow in here. Trouble to grow it here.
Sheldon, while we're talking about the events on mainland Grenada, we also have the Carriacou and Petit Martinique. They're going to be celebrating their Independence rally and parade on Petit Martinique will be the 30th, and the Carriacou will be the 31st. Already, activities are ongoing there. Yesterday, they had the ecumenical service on the sister isle of Petit Martinique, which was reported to be a success. Kudos to the organizing committee, Mrs. Vanessa Smart, out there inside of Carriacou, who's doing a wonderful job. We applaud you and the team, and also, the entire public in Carriacou, patriotic people. Also, the interministerial competition that is on for the 6th and the National Colors Day. Wednesday, February 6th, everyone is urged to wear something either red, gold, or green, or all of the colors. Let's be proud of who we are. We should be a proud nation, and I sometimes say, I heard someone said it earlier, and I thought about it, and I said, that's so true. The only persons who are not proud to be Grenadians most times are we Grenadians. Because you go all over the world and you see some people have Grenada flag waving and you ask them, have you ever been to Grenada? They don't even know where Grenada is. But
no, me from Japan, love color.
Yeah, love color. So let's, even on Saturday, we had some non-nationals on the bus, almost filled one of the buses.
That's right.
And they were there with their flags. And I asked them, how did you know? They said they were just passing and they saw the flag and they asked what's happening. And they just got on the bus. They got on the bus. They said they hope that when they come back, the ship is still going to be important. So it's just going to show, we ought to be proud of who we are.
As we go down that particular road, I know that there are discussions right now for a national dress.
Oh, yes.
Be it a ceremonial dress as well as, what do you put it? The formal wear and a normal wear for other occasions. What is the latest taking place with that?
That's been handled by the Cultural Foundation. They've created a booklet. They've made communication to designers. So what we have done, we've collaborated with them. We're going to use the celebrations to provide for a launch, their media launch. So on the 4th of March, at the Ministerial Complex, we would have an official launch of the national wear. That would be handled by them. They have everything up and running. And we were saying we're looking forward to come next year.
They will also be presented with a booklet of the criteria and what
and all the
guidelines and come next year.
We hope that
it will be ready.
So I can use my creative ability right now as an artist.
Oh yes.
And start creating.
Devon,
we ain't going plaid. We ain't going plaid. We're looking like the St. Lucians.
Or the Dominicans.
We ain't going that direction.
So that's something new to us, and we're looking forward to that. So once we've launched,
it's also inclusive of a headgear, I believe, a headwear. Possibility of a headwear for male and female.
Are going to look at that. They're going to come up with their concept.
Because we want to be unique too, so we don't really want to,
it's going to be like Project Runway.
No grass skirts like somewhere in the Pacific Islands.
I hope things like the bumper stickers and all these things are taken into consideration.
For that?
Yeah, for like every year. I mean, you see it wrong, right? But it's not something that is being paid attention to, because look, it's a form of raising funds and it's unique. The average person would have a sticker stick in their house for independence.
What I think happens is that yes, we do have them, but I think the time we get them is not enough time to start disseminating. So if we get it in January, there's not much time. So maybe if we start having them, let's say December, so as soon as the year starts, we start.
And it all depends on the team.
When we get the theme.
And also the
logo. That's we're working to ensure that God's Will 2020, we can start activities for that celebration as early as October of this year.
That's right. We'll be coming on your program to talk about it long before.
For example,
now we are late. And the door is open.
For example, the This Is Home concert, which unfortunately will not be hosted this year. Next year, God's will. Well, what we're looking at moving forward is having it as a build-up to the 2020 event, or maybe even in January. So it's a concert that will be separate from the actual day of the parade.
Okay. We're going to create a hype. So it was planned for the Carriacou for this year, but again, because of the logistics and other commitments, so we hope to have it definitely next year, so we can create a hype for the event.
Grenada now at 45 years, we're looking down the barrel of the 50th anniversary. The committee has been planning a special one for that one, I assume.
Well, we knew, but if we're going to plan for the 46th and 47th, we're going to be planning.
Imagine what the 50th is going to be.
And it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be spectacular. And again, we're going to use the media houses like yourselves to come in and talk about it. Let people know what we're planning, and because one of the things it was suggested to me that it'd be good to have an independence sort of activity like a dance in each
gala.
Gala. Each of the parish
leading up
would have something leading up to it. It takes place in the diaspora and London and Canada and America.
So we can do that here as well.
So it's something we could encourage. Give people enough time and let all the constituency, because not everyone's able to come down to the military parade, but within your own constitution or your own parish, you can take part and feel good and celebrate. So the celebrations take place at that level and also at the national level. So these are things we're looking at, and hopefully we'll...
Because of course, Sheldon, you would agree with me. I mean, you're in media and you're all over the place in Grenada. Times have changed. Things have changed. So of course, we have to move with the time. So we're looking at doing things differently to suit and incorporate and accommodate everybody. The young, the not so young, the senior citizens, and so forth. So hence the reason, Mr. Chair is always guiding us along to ensure that we look at a different scope of, doing things, a different way of doing things. I just also want to make mention about our Independence Friday Lime downtown. The first is going to be held this coming Friday right outside by Andel's supermarket by the bus terminal. Starting from 4, we're going to be having a New Dimension. They're going to be playing some patriotic songs. That's the day before the Calypso competition. So we're going to be having, let's say, maybe 3 or 4 of the artists are going to be passing through and give a little blast as to what to expect, a sample as to what to expect on the Saturday. We also have Inspector and Randy. They're going to be also making an appearance there. We're trying to speak to some persons to get at least 2 or 3 pots of oil long so that, persons can start feeling that, getting that vibe. Oil long is our national dish, and I'm so happy that in Grenada we don't only do this dish around Independence Time. It's a normal weekly part of our normal weekly menu. So the first one will be at and there's there downtown. The second one will be in Grenville at the bus terminal, and then the final one we're going to come back to town by the mall. That's going to be the 6th. That's when we wear our national colors, and persons are, come out. Let's celebrate. There's a lot for us to celebrate.
Yes, indeed. Any closing and final questions, Devon?
No.
Any closing statements? Because we know you all gotta go.
Yes. Well, in closing, I would just like to appeal to all Grenadians. We are a proud nation, and I mean, just coming from one of our first major events, which was the motorcade, and you see the love that people give, the energy that they give out as we get ready to celebrate the 7th of February, Independence Day. Continue to support your country. Continue to do whatever little in your way that you can do to enhance our economic and social development. Remember, our theme says celebrating 45 years, building resilience and enhancing social and economic transformation. Grenada can only move forward if we, the people, do our part as citizens. Remember, Grenada is not a person by itself, it's just a rock. So we have to do what we can in our own little capacity to ensure that we take it to another level, irregardless of our differences, whether political, social, or whatever the case may be. Let us come out. Independence is about us, it's about our country. So, once again, Sheldon, thanks for having us, and happy independence to all.
And I concur. What can I say? She's PRO, she's covered it all. Thank you, Sheldon. Just thanks for being here.
All right. So we'd like to thank you, Mr. Williams and Wendy, for joining us this morning on Hard Talk, giving us some information there about the independence celebrations. Yeah, indeed. And only watch now. National Colors Day is coming up. Yeah, National Colors Day is coming up. So, all you have to do. Yeah, all you have to make sure and follow what Zingo say. All you have to make sure and do it, All right, nice. All you have to do that.
Who goes there?
The Grenada government is committed to improving the lives of citizens. Government announces early payment of January salaries for public officers.
Traditionally, government would make payments to public officers on the second to last day of the month. In this case, for January 2019, we have decided to make early payments to public officers on the 21st of this month. This has not been done in over a decade.
Public officers to get a 4% salary increase.
You would recall that the government would have negotiated with the trade unions for a 10% increase for public officers over a 3-year period. 2017, 3%, 2018, 3%, and 2019, 4%. We would kick off the 4% payment, which is to the tune of $6.7 million on January 21st, 2019.
January salaries to include increments.
Every year, public officers move incrementally in their pay and grade scale. This year, we are paying increments to the tune of $3.6 million, and that would also be included in the January 21st payment.
Will pensioners also benefit?
Pensioners' income is indexed to the salary increases of the public officers. So the 4% increase that public officers is due for 2019, pensioners would also benefit from that 4% increase.
Your government at work, delivering on promises made.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
gala was wearing the national color. Guess they want the world to remember this is Grenada. Cause we are a resilient people, we are accustomed going through struggle, so we do the thing that we have to make our dream come true. Wave your national color, wave your national flag. Let them know that Grenada ever touches a God. Wave your national color, wave your national flag. Let them know that Grenada ever touches a God. Wave your national color, wave your national flag.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you gotta wave them. We waving it, but we ain't disrespecting it, eh? Have to remember there's proper protocol to the use of the Grenada flag. It can only remain flown after the hour of 6 o'clock internally inside of a building. It has to be properly lighted and all of that, yes, so you can't just take the flag. See some people playing jab with the Grenada flag and think. Find it's high time that is actually you should supposed to be able to arrest people for that kind of thing, you know.
But then again, there's
taking oil oil, dipping the flag in oil oil and thing.
There's also the argument of some of the things, some of the what is portrayed as our national flag. It's not. It's not. So
the color's wrong.
Yeah, the color's wrong. The design and everything like that. You see nutmegs and so without any.
Nutmeg
that don't yes, and even some of the nutmegs too. You don't see the black.
You see the black, yeah.
Yeah, and you know some of these things. So it
has black on it. I don't know black.
Once that nutmeg is split, you must see that black.
Who tell he that?
Yeah.
I want to see that one.
But I
know no black on the flag.
While we on historic events and so, today, Sheldon, in addition to significant of 45th anniversary of independence, right? 45 years ago, today, 21st of January 1974, right? It's known as Bloody Monday. It was a day in Grenada, I think, when it was not the first demonstration led by workers and other activists and so, but it was one of the biggest demonstration held just before Grenada's independence in 1974, right? On that day, a couple of days, but leading up to that day, you had students, you had workers, you had politicians coming out marching against Sir Eric Matthew Gary and his government, and so and mostly some of it was for against independence, some of it was for against workers' rights, some of it was brutality. All sorts of things came into one, and so on that day, and wow, it is so historic that also on that day we had loss of life, right? We had the father of Morris Bishop. Rupert Bishop was killed on the Carriacou in Otway House, right? He was shot. It was alleged by a police officer or someone within the armed forces with a gun. He was shot trying to defend school children and workers at the Otway House, right? So it is a significant day, 45 years ago, 1974, January 21st.
But even though we talk about a negative like that, Mr. Technical Man, you want to show them a positive about Grenada? Let me show them a positive about Grenada. For those of you out there in minus 30 degrees, and those of you in 3 degrees, and those of you in all kind of thing, we want to show you a positive about Grenada. When we've heard about the negatives, we want to show you a little positive about Grenada. It's important that we do that from time to time.
From then to now.
Yeah, that is Grenada, actually.
It is Grenada.
Some of you may be wondering and saying, that's not Grenada. No, that's Grenada. Is it the fort?
Bahamas. No, it's Grenada.
All it's in the fort there and that kind of thing. Yeah, the fort is there, All it's in the fort. So the fort is there and that kind of thing. So don't.
And those of you who are watching, could you remember years ago, the state of the lagoon, right, running along the Kirani James Boulevard? And so what it used to look like and compare what it is now?
You see, Devon, in that one picture, in that one picture that is there right now, if you're looking to the left-hand side, you can see a project of the New National Party.
Yes. That
Port Louis project that they had to fight tooth and nail to ensure took place. So to the left, you're seeing the Port Louis project with the mega yachts and so on in there. that, as you could say, years ago it was all iron and crustacean crusted piles in the water
old
there.
Vehicles and boats and
dare not go around the area
sort of
if you didn't have to. So that's that. If you look more to the center, to the front, to the top center, you would see the General Hospital facility again, built under the new National Party, and you could even get a glimpse of the new structure there. If you could see it good enough, you could see the new part that's being built there as well.
Also, too, you have the Carriacou jetty.
Yeah,
right?
the extended Carriacou jetty. Ambrose Philip was at the point in time that was put in, because you didn't want her to go there before. You believe me. You didn't want her to go there before. That again, a project of the new National Party. You could see the cruise ship port.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see the cruise ship port. Apart from the port facility itself, the Carriacou jetty and the port, you can see the cruise ship port out to the back there. Yeah, you could see it by. No, you can't see it by.
No, you
could
may not be able to see it. You would
yeah,
not.
If you see in the picture large, you could see it.
You might be able to tiptoe. If you tiptoe a bit, you might be able to see.
Yeah, if you tiptoe over the mountain there, you can see a part of it. But it's there, and we need to give our photo credit to Mr. Rolf Hoshtialik. Rolf Hoshtialik, that is his photo. We ain't want to realize hard talk a drone and we take picture. No, Mr. Rolf Hoshtialik, that's his photo. And those ships, some of those boats look like they're there for the. That's a recent photo, because some of those ships look like they're there for the.
Within the last week.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, so that photo is from yesterday, because I'm looking at the boats. And they're there for the fishing tournament, isn't it?
Yes.
The billfish tournament?
The billfish tournament, which starts today.
So that's some boats on the right-hand side that are here from different countries.
Different countries and so.
That are here for the billfish tournament. And if you were to go a little more to the right of the photo, and so you would have been able to see the ministerial complex and other things that have been done. But in that one photo, imagine, you could just take that one photo and point out the new National Party did this. The refurbishment of the Port Highway. You're going down there. I mean, just
the enhancement of GBSS right on top of the hill, right
there.
Yeah,
GBSS is right there.
You know?
The work that's been done as well on the Royce and John playing field. Yeah, some of the work that's been done there and so on. Wow. Yeah, so another photo up there. So those of you in 30 degrees and minus 30 degrees, sorry.
Minus 30 come back home?
Yeah, that's why we had to play that song for you all. You
understand? Why can't you come back home?
Yeah.
It's so sunny.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
And that was just yesterday, so today it still looks maybe even a little brighter. Than that today. So in case you want to come home,
and right there, that photo you've seen right there, I mean, for the next week, around that area will be buzzing with activity. Yeah. And so the billfish tournament.
We'd like to thank Mr. Technical Man. He handling scenes in the corner there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, it starts on a Wednesday. So most of the persons are coming in to the country with their boats. Some of them are getting boats in Grenada. And that is a good thing of it. What you find, you have some of the fishermen or boat owners preparing the boat and would be able to rent it out for persons coming in for that tournament.
What we need to also let you all know, those of you ardent listeners to Hard Talk, is that on Wednesday, you will not be seeing myself or Devon. We will be broadcasting the Youth Parliament. It starts at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the, as I call it, the Nutmeg Palace. That's not the official name, but that is Sheldon name, the Nutmeg Palace. So that will be starting from 10 a.m. and we intend to hear lots of very, 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 very intellectual and interesting debates and discussions from the young people that are there. I know they've been practicing pretty hard. They've now had some sessions at the Parliament building itself to familiarize themselves with the surroundings and so. And don't take this as only a mock thing. Within the Ministry of Youth, they have been working towards, Mr. Check you, show that up on you ready. They have been working towards ensuring that we institutionalize the National Youth Parliament to the point of where you will have elections actually taking place at the youth level, where they elect the representatives that would be going to the Youth Parliament, and that the Youth Parliament itself will be making recommendations to the Senate and the House of Representatives on various bills. So a bill might come up in the Youth Parliament that the young people see as important to national development. that bill can then go to the Senate, to the House of Representatives and the Senate, right? So that they would be able to send legislation or even legislation that is going through the Senate and the House of Representatives can also be discussed at the youth level. So you have elections on a constituency level for youth representatives to go to the National Youth Parliament and so as well. So no longer, that isn't in place yet, that is being worked on. So no longer just having the mock debate every now and again on different issues, but having it institutionalized. Yeah, because you've seen over the years many people from the youth parliament end up in parliament.
Of course, and not just that. History will tell you that as far back as the late 60s, in the 70s and so, you had what you call the National Students' Council. And like every school had a student council body, right, you know, to represent the students of that particular school and on the national level. And after that, what you found, a lot of the persons who were there end up in frontline politics in the 80s and the 90s. And so it's basically a stage where our young people is being given the opportunity, right, to be exposed, right, to the parliament and so on, and make way for the future. Wow,
yes,
that
indeed.
is so good.
And we're going to open the phone lines in about 4 minutes. We're going to open the phone lines so that you can call in. And so we hope that you got a lot of information in relation to the independence activities. Yep. We know that Saturday coming, you're going to have the Independence Calypso show. Let me just make sure giving people the right day. I don't want to go on next thing I'm telling people.
What date is the Youth Parliament again?
The Youth Parliament is Wednesday, this Wednesday.
Excuse me.
So the Youth Parliament is Wednesday the 23rd. That's this Wednesday, starting from 10 a.m. So expect it to be broadcast via HARDTALK, the usual HARDTALK media. And this Saturday, the Independence Calypso competition. And you know, usually you had the motorcade and the competition taking place on the same day. But what's happening is that people wanted to go to the Calypso competition, but they're so tired from the motorcade they couldn't make it. So they have the two separate now. So you had the motorcade a little earlier, and now you have the Calypso competition taking place there.
Consideration.
Yeah. So the thing free, so still walk with money in your pocket and support the bar.
Yeah.
Support the bar.
Yeah,
we had to support the thing. So support the bar at the Calypso competition and the eats and drinks and so on, and support the people in St. Patrick in general. All right. So yeah. So as it is, oh yeah, you have the Royal Apartments. They just opened in Carriacou. Yeah, you mentioned that one in a while. We will go deeper into that one in a while. Devon had been mentioning earlier. Mr. Technical Man, you have time get the videos. You have the videos there. You got the videos across yet? The two that I sent to you in the chat. Yeah, and told you to download so you could show them over. Yeah. So when you get those, we go further onto that one. But at this time, 45 years ago, Grenada would have been pregnant with dissent. You'd have had strikes and so on. You know, this would have been the day 45 years ago to the day that Rupert Bishop would have lost his life. Yes. There's a big story behind that about the secret police or special reserve police or mongoose gang or police aides or whichever name you want to call them by, that grouping by. All it was mixed. Some of them was special reserve police, some was police aides, some was different thing and so on. You know any other mongoose and them still around, man?
Well, yeah, I think so. You know, one or two of them still around, you know.
Yeah. One or two of the mongoose and them still around.
Yeah, one or two. I know of one, and so he's of age, perhaps in his.
Most of them, they must be of age now.
70s, early 80s.
Unless there was a 17-year-old mongoose.
Yeah, and there was some that was very young too, but so most of them migrated, and so on. And you know, on that day, 45 years ago, it ended with, I think, one of the first, well, for me, looting experience they had in our country. Right, 1974. I was only about 8 years old, somewhere around there, going to the Methodist school in St. George in the Queen's Park.
But isn't it very interesting, though, that 45 years ago, you had those incidents taking place with the various trade unions, be it the Technical and Allied Workers Union,
Seamen and Waterfront Workers
Union. The Grenadian Manual and Mental Intellectual Workers Union wasn't part of that.
No, they wasn't part of that. But the Seamen and Waterfront Workers Union was one of the unions that was in the forefront.
That is why they ended up at Otway House.
Yes.
So you had that taking place at that point in time. Many people saying that they did not want independence under Sir Eric Matthew Geary.
Yes.
Not the majority,
Not the
because when he went to
majority.
election, he still was winning.
Yeah, not the
So if it was the
majority.
majority, he would not have won when they went to general elections, because you had general election after that, and he won again. So it was obvious that you had quite a significant number of people that were against the Gary regime, well, against independence under the Gary
Under
regime.
Sir Matthew Gary, yeah.
And so you had the trade union movement coming together. The Grenada Union of Teachers. Sounds familiar?
Yep.
The Technical and Allied Workers Union.
Yeah, Commercial and Industrial Workers
Workers Union, yeah.
Seamen and Waterfront Workers Union. And so I think the
Lions Club.
Bank, I think Bank and General Workers Union. Was there.
All of the unions, with the exception of the GMM,
the
IW.
Marital, his union would not have been there.
No.
At all.
He gave union going against him. You mad how?
It was, I mean, I remember, I had one or two photos of that.
But interesting though, 45 years from then, you now have a grouping of some of those unions that are once again in opposition to not the government, not independence, but are in opposition to one particular aspect of something that the government is doing. And not even they agreeing with the government in relation to the pension issue, that public workers who have now retired, they deserve 70%. The unions agree that, the government agrees with that. The formula, the payments will be shared between the National Insurance Scheme and the government of Grenada, so that persons who are retiring or retired would start receiving 70% of their last salary, right? So if your last salary was $10,000, you get a salary of $7,000. Last salary was $1,000, you get a salary of a pension of $700, right? But that in a situation like that, they have agreed. But the problem that they're having now is the gratuity and the calculation as to the amount of gratuity that should be paid upon retirement to people who have left the civil servants. Teachers have decided that, no, we're not going to do that because of various issues. They've decided now that they are not going to do any extracurricular activities and so on. And due to that, now we have the cancellation of Intercall 2019.
Which is very sad, though. And I really didn't have the opportunity for the last couple of days and so to make a comment on that. But I'm very much disgusted at what is going on and what, as a nation, what we are losing, right? This year alone, we will lose, in my view, hundreds of students who would have had the opportunity, right, to perform, right, in the athletic season, right, to gain opportunities to travel, to get exposure on the international market, right? A student who would have be looking forward for this year to excel, right, in the intercall, and so is not being given the opportunity to do that, right? All because of what is going on at this point in time, right? And I'm personally very much disgusted, because you've been hearing the children who have been affected, you've been hearing them, what they are saying, right, and how they feel about it. And I think we need, as a people, to consider that, right? And I really hope, especially our teachers, right, and its leadership, to really consider, right, the move that you're making at this point in time, all right?
The thing is this, I see it from this perspective, from the perspective of the teachers. No one can force them to volunteer.
Oh no, definitely.
That is an individual decision to be made by each teacher, whether to volunteer or not to volunteer your time. So each individual has that own decision, their own decision to make. So no one could cuss them for not volunteering their time. It's their time. But at the same length, we must also ensure that our children and their future is safeguarded. We have a situation now that you have several young athletes who are within the Grenada school system, whose intent is to move on to university in North America and maybe other places, because now we have athletes that are heading to Jamaica on scholarships, Some may look to head to even regionally at Trinidad or Barbados on sports scholarships, or other countries, Canada or wherever, even the UK, on sports scholarships. And the Intercol Games was their opportunity, or is their last opportunity, because of their age in some instances, their last opportunity to be able to put their talents on display for one of the scouts who either tune in via the internet to the games here in Grenada, or actually come down here, book a hotel room, and come incognito. They don't announce that they're coming or that kind of thing. And they come to the stands and so on, they look at the different athletes, and in their mind, they're making notes of which athletes they're going to approach to attend their university. Be it the University of North Carolina, be it whichever university in the United States, Texas A&M, wherever it is. They send scouts down during Intercol and so to pay attention to the different athletes so that they can select. What has happened now is that the athletes who would have had or should have had that opportunity this year, due to the cancellation of Intercol, will not get that opportunity at the Intercol Games.
And may not ever get that opportunity again.
Yeah. There still is on the cards, as far as I know, the national championships and maybe one or two other major sports meets that would be taking place. So they would have the opportunities at those. But the coaches, the scouts and so on, they usually look forward to the Intercol Games. I think it is really unfair. I believe it's really unfair to the students.
Yeah.
Because I understand no one can force, it's a person's individual constitutional right as whether or not they would like to volunteer for something. You can't force a person. You can't draft. There's no draft in Grenada. You can't draft a person and say you mandatory national service for X amount of time and that sort of thing. There's no such thing here in Grenada. So the teachers can volunteer their time. But what is stopping the parents? What is stopping us as the general public from volunteering our time to make sure that a games takes place or that something of the like takes place? What is stopping us?
Yeah, but you know, to Sheldon, I'm wondering about what the committed teachers, right? Teachers that will do whatever it takes for the student. I'm wondering how are you guys feeling at this point in time to be sitting there understanding around this period what usually goes on? How do you feel knowing that you lose an entire athletic season, and so even your participation in it? I mean, what sort of feeling does that bring to you? I mean, I'm just asking.
Even bigger than that, Devon. How does St. Joseph Convent Grenville feel after knocking on the door all these years, finally winning, and then
don't have a chance to defend it this year?
You can't defend.
Yeah, well, look
after
at
knocking on the doors for all these years. I've been looking at them, especially within the last 10 years, and seeing the possibility that what would have happened last year happened. And to know that they've won, and then you can't go out to defend that.
To defend that, you know.
What of the other students who are seniors right now, about to leave school? And this was their last intercall.
That is my point. That is the last intercall. An opportunity to give, bring back the glory to St. Joseph Convent Grenville. And so they want to feel, that energy too, right? Yes, no intercall, the title will still remain in St. Joseph Convent Grenville and so, but the athletes want to be part of defending that and keeping it, not just having it just so. They worked hard for it over the last 10, 15 years. They want to ensure that they work hard to keep it, and we are denying them that opportunity.
As we're speaking right now, people are starting to message me and saying that they're willing to volunteer. And that's the thing, we have to remember that spirit of volunteerism that we have here in Grenada. It's not about the government, it's not about the unions, it's not about the teachers. For me, it's all about the children. For me. So it's not about the government, it's not about the unions, it's not about the teachers, but it's all about the students. When I listen to morning radio and I hear people in a community calling and saying that the playing field need to cut in the community, the children can't go and play, I wonder what has happened to many of us as Grenadians. That the government has to send somebody. Yes, the government has a responsibility to ensure that's done. but my child wants to play there. And I'm pretty sure that there are people who have the ability and the time.
Oh, yeah.
To make a cut. Yes, the government will send people to maintain it and keep it neat and that kind of thing.
But you have to play your part too.
Sometimes, because where's that spirit of voluntarism that says, okay, a group of us, we won't get together and we will go and cut it? Because our children are playing there, you know. It's not the MP child necessarily. MP child might have a child in here and so on, but not necessarily that. It's our children that have to play there.
I give you an example. You see that Tempe playing field right there presently? You see how it's looking wonderful and beautiful? That's not how it was, you know. I remember as a young boy in the 70s, we used to have to go and take cutlass and cut the heavy grass and so just to play. On not just the grass we're playing on, you know, but on stone, on rocks, gravel.
Some of the problems that we have, and we are independent people, but I think in becoming more and more independent, some people are making themselves more and more dependent. Yeah? And I say this to say, you may have a community, and there is an issue in a community. For instance, you have your house, right outside of your front gate is where you put your garbage for the garbage collection team to come and collect it. Every now and again, things may overflow, fall, end up in the drain. The drain becomes clogged. And then the individual, who is the person that has been putting the garbage outside, whose garbage was not properly tied, or whose own animal, dog or so went and bite it and so. And their stuff fell into the drain and blocked the drain. That person is going to then call and say, ask the government to send a team to clean the drain there. That's not right to you, Devon?
At all. That don't sound right. That sound like crazy people.
I could understand if it's a distance away from you and you see it, and you know, in some instances it's not a case where you could go and, I know some drain you can't go and clean it because how it is, you had to raise up this and you had to use some long pole. I could understand. But there are some instances, man, I find it to be ridiculous.
Right there in front of you.
Where's your patriotism?
It's making moss, lally, and you just wouldn't clean it.
Because when the mosquitoes come out from there and they start to circulate and spread their dengue and the this and the that.
They ain't going to mind the neighbor alone, you know.
It's not the government or whoever they're coming on. It's you they're coming and bite.
Exactly.
And your children. But still, in a simple situation like that, some people find it necessary to go and focus on, let me call the government. You're putting your garbage outside, your garbage overflow, it blocked the drain. The drain is blocked up. But you still decide that you're not going to clean it.
That is.
You know, and 45 years ago, you were in the midst of industrial turmoil. The country was pregnant, it was about to be born. Yes, so the place was pregnant, was about to be, independence was about to be born.
It was an 8-month-old baby.
But was a very problematic pregnancy.
Difficult.
Coming down there, it had a lot of problem. Cramp, morning sickness.
Delivery process, it was.
Yeah. So you have that sort of a situation that is existing now that has affected our children. It's affected our children in that you don't have most schools, I'm not saying all, most schools do not have school sports. Most schools, they would most likely, I doubt there'd be any zonal sports. And I also doubt there'll be any
cross-country.
Yeah, these sort of things with government-run schools. The private schools are having their stuff as normal.
Would have their thing.
And what they're doing basically is telling a lot of people, send your child to the private school, you know.
Yeah.
Where you have an uninterrupted educational process. But where is our spirit of volunteerism? How many of us are willing to volunteer our time and energy and effort,
to do what needs
not
to be done.
only for the day of intercall, the days of intercall, to say day 1, day 2, day 3, or day 1 and day 2, that we're willing to lend our expertise on that day, but how many are willing to help train the athletes coming up to that as well? How many are willing to train them? Yeah? How many are willing to come out there and say, when you're doing the 400 meter, this is how you time yourself, and this is how you do the baton pass, in the 4x4, and so on. How many are willing to do that?
And again, Sheldon, and we've been calling for that. It is so important that as parents, we started getting involved in the Parent Teachers Association. We need to take charge of what our children is doing in school, especially the extracurricular activities. We see what is going on right now. As parents, we need to pay more attention, do more volunteering, give a more active role, right, in what is going on right now. We cannot afford, right, for when the teachers decide to withhold their volunteerism, our children suffers, right? We as parents should be able to fill that vacuum, right? We need to do that. It is time for us to get proactive. Our children is our greatest asset.
And then let's open our phone lines. 440-7377. We have about 15 minutes remaining. We'll give you the opportunity to call in. 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101. Give us a call.
Yeah, and I believe that the spirit of volunteerism, I believe that there are a lot of people out there who are willing to give up their time.
Lots.
What they're looking for is the mechanism to be put in place for them to give of their time. If people do not want to volunteer, you can't force people to volunteer. So some people cussing them teacher, them teacher this and them teacher that.
That's voluntary
I wouldn't
service.
do that. If they're volunteering and they decided that, look, this year I'm not going to volunteer, you can't be upset with them.
And I'm sure
the games teacher don't have a choice. The games teacher is supposed to be preparing,
because that's part of
and
his
supposed
job.
to be coaching and that kind of thing. But if the other teachers decide that they are not willing to do it, I believe that as Grenadians, all of us, because come August of this year, many of us going to be glued to the television screens when Kirani is running in the World Championships. As we know, you won the World Championship back in 2011 and then in 2012 followed that with the Olympic gold. So many of us, all of us as Grenadians, patriotically, we will be glued to the television during the month of August, in between all the Carnival Bacchanal, to see when Kirani is running, to see Kurt Felix in action in the decathlon, as well as Lyndon Victor and the brothers. We're going to be looking to see Oriola Cherubin in the pool. We'd be looking to see Markham Felix in the javelin and Anderson Peters in the javelin and that sort of thing. We'd be looking to see all of them. But remember, it's the intercall they came out of.
Oh, yes. That's a product of intercall.
If we do anything to damage that engine room where these athletes have been getting the opportunity to own their skills, to come afterwards and be on the world stage, we are doing our country a disservice.
Yeah, they can't get gas right now, so they can't function. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Devon, and how are you? You feeling much better now?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Mr. Scott, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Mr. Scott, I get up this morning with a joy in my heart. I'm feeling good, only thanking the great Almighty God. I'm feeling so good. Remember this thing what we talked about last week?
Yes.
I tell I was going to call you back again, because when things are bad, we call now, we're shouting, things is bad in this country, things not going right. But when something good is happening, I must make a boast about it. I must sing a song and boast about it, Mr. Scott. I want to congratulate my minister here in Carriacou. I'm calling from Carriacou, Bellevue South. I want to congratulate my minister in Carriacou, Mrs. Kindra Maturin Stewart. I would like to congratulate her. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Nimrod. I would like to congratulate my government. I thank Mrs. Kindra for carrying on the baton what Mr. Nimrod have left. Mr. Nimrod done wonderful for Carriacou and Pity Mat. He done wonderful. 17 years we've been waiting for our road. And Mr. Scott, we got it yesterday. It was completed on Saturday. I was so proud. We, the people of Bellevue South, we came out and we saw the last pouring, when they pouring the concrete, the last drop of the concrete on the road. We was there and we cheered. I congratulate Mr. Nimrod for taking us this far. The one who run the race, the Swifties, they are not the one who does finish in the end. But Mrs. Kindra Maturin, she take up the mantle and she finish up the race. And we got our road, the ring road in Carriacou. So I thank them and I thank the government and I thank the workers, the contractor. I thank him very, very, very much. There was wonderful. They did very, very well, and I'm very, very proud of the road. I'm really proud, and I'm happy. Mr. Scott, I get up early this morning and I run the road. I run, and I didn't have to look down, keep looking down to see where I'm putting my foot. My foot was going in the right place. My head was up, and I was going. And I thank them very, very, very much. Sometimes when things bad, everybody complaining. We must not complain all the time. I waited 17 years. Most of the elderly people what was in the village, they all died. It's only one what left. They didn't see the road. But today we have road, and we give God thanks for that. We thank God for blessing the Prime Minister, for blessing our ministers. They go, the Carriacou and Grenada and Petit Martinique is not like England and America. We don't have a pit full of gold. We don't have no money. We don't have no diamond. We haven't got no copper. We haven't got nothing. Only nutmeg and cocoa we have. And my God, today we have our road. Our Prime Minister have to go to this begging bowl and beg the big country to bring the goodies into our little country. Let us say thanks to them. Let us take out our heart to them. Let us encourage them for it to go on. And as we say, the slogan said, let us keep moving. We're moving on, and we're making progress. Things are coming, and things are shaping up nice in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Things are looking wonderful. There is development taking place. Next time when we talk, we're going to talk about the beautiful houses that the Chinese are building for us. So we give God thanks, and we thank the Prime Minister. I thank Kindra again, and thank you, Mr. Nimrod. Thank you for everything that what you have done. Mr. Scott, have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you.
Bless you. You see, I'm happy and I'm jumping for joy.
All right, with him.
Bye-bye.
You gotta be happy.
Because you used to complain about the dust, eh?
Watch it. And I
Well
feel, although I'm not living in that particular era at this point in time, but in Tempe, that road, when you reach by just around the corner before you take Arnold John building right there to go in, they call it Jumbie Road. Man, since I was a little boy living and walking around that area, that road is rough. I've seen it concreted over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw when I was passing, I saw it had been done. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're fine. Go right ahead.
Go right ahead, my friend. I'm good.
Right. Brother Sheldon, Devon, you know something I understand with some of the Grenadians? Those who hate the development. You know what? They want development, but they don't want it under that person.
They go wrong.
They don't want it under person. Because if the person that they don't like bring development to the country, it's going to make the person more popular.
But that's the only person that delivering. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, so I want to say, as patriotic Grenadians, as we celebrate our 45th anniversary, right? You might not like somebody, but the person bring development. You give the person praise and thank the person for the development that they bring into the country. Right? And I see, as believe a patriot is someone who wants to see development. If you check the independent, there's opposition. The bus terminal, opposition. The stadium, opposition. Don't say they didn't want it, but they don't want it under that person. I want to say, let us put aside that hate. Right? And the person delivering, let us appreciate the person for the good things. Whatsoever development that came for our country, it come for all. It don't come for some. Right? It come for some. I want to say, brother, when I was listening to you all this morning, I say you should have a prize for the best flag, the most beautiful flag in the world. And when you look at that, Grenada flag is the most beautiful flag in the world. Right? I want Brother Devon, I want to God bless you on the Sheldon. Right? And as we celebrate our 45th anniversary, independent anniversary, I plead to all Grenadians, let us come together. Let us stand in unity for development and for our country. God bless you all.
All right, thank you.
Right, my friend.
And I think we have another caller. Let's just get the other caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, morning, Brother Devon. How are you doing?
Not too bad, my friend.
And morning to Brother Sheldon.
Morning, sir. How are you?
You know, Sheldon, I have to call because of hearing that lady from Carriacou. I myself was in Carriacou in recent time, and I got some good news, and I say, wow. And what was told to me by one of the persons that live in Carriacou is that many years they have not seen that. But Sheldon, I've heard from persons from the kayak that very soon, and I'm talking about very, very soon, you would have cruise ship going towards Carriacou. And as I said, many years they have not seen that. But they are now seeing that about to happen in Carriacou. Sheldon, that is a big day, not only for the kayaks, but for the whole of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, to see that tourism is opening its doors, extending what the mainland have by the sight of just the cruise ship. Sheldon, just the sight does make one have a nice day, and to know that Carriacou will be enjoying such a beauty along with the goodies that comes with it. I say hands out to the government for making that possible, and so forth. I just heard that from one of the cats when I was there, and he make my day. You understand? Mm-hmm. Another thing that I would like to speak on, right, is that the situation with our school, that dark situation that is facing our nation's school children, especially the athletes, the young athletes who would have done so much, train so hard. You don't train a month before. You don't train 2 months before. You don't train 3 months before. I myself was an athlete, and I know we train months, sometimes the year before we train for the year to come. And to hear now that they are being bullied, and yes, it is bullying, Sheldon. It is bullying that is taking place. In recent months, in October, we talk about the love for the child. We talk about what is bullying, stop the bullying to the kids in the school. But when you have those who know better, it's actually bullying the children, the school children of this nation. It is sad, Sheldon. Sheldon, we heard the threats that was made to the school children that they would not be coming to the classes. We see it exercise. Nothing, it didn't make a difference. We also heard the threat that they would not be having any Christmas party for them. And we see it come out by those who made such threat. Now, you did not have your way. You continue to bully the children of this nation, by ensuring that they do not have intercall. Kirani made his big name from intercall. All the other big names, and most of them, made it through intercall. And now you're having 2019 that some of these big bullies ensuring that the children, the pain and hurt that you are administering to these children, right? Because you cannot have your way. Why would these people decide to bully these children to try to bend the hand of the government? Why? Why use the children? Why abuse our nation children? Sheldon, this is not an easy fix in the minds of the children. This is not an easy fix for the children to come out and say, well, okay, they say we want to have and we understand. Listen, no one knows what could happen next year to the athlete that was preparing for this year.
Psychologically.
Sheldon, this is happening, and I'm saying stop the bullying of our nation school children. Thank you.
All right.
All right, my friend. Have a wonderful
And you
day.
see, the thing is that I believe that as Grenadians, we all have our part to play. I do not believe that with the proper structure put in place, that our children can be held hostage by anybody. And we should never allow ourselves to get back to a situation where our children are held hostage by any group, grouping, or individual. Never should we allow that to happen again. Our children's education is extremely important, as well as it is very important as well for them to have the opportunity to be able to put their talents to use on the tracks. And otherwise, you have a state-of-the-art facility and they can't use it.
You know how expensive it is for a lot of parents right now for their children who are in the Form 4 and the Form 5, the extra classes and so that they have to put out and thing. I mean, it's unfair. And there are a lot of those who on the airwaves talking and wherever talking, and so they have no children going to school. They don't feel the pain. I'm just wondering. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir. It's glad to see you back, Mr. Romain, and good morning to Mr. Scott.
Thank you
and
very
good
much.
morning to your listening audience.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to stay away from the issues of what you just talked about, because I think what I just drawn down here, I don't think the word is not appropriate for radio, so I'm going to stay away from that. Now, but what I'm saying is that, listen, we must have a price in place for people who cannot feel no matter how bad they get beaten. And two, don't worry. We will be able to flip this present situation in our favor. Not now, but later when it matters the most. The price is yet to be determined. But let me just quickly make my most substantial point. I want to congratulate the RGPF and the successful capture of the escaped prisoner. Capturing the gentleman alive clearly shows the moral, ethical, and professional side of our lawmen. Because that situation, as it was, called for immediate transfer, not later, but now, with immediate effect, never again, if you read between the lines. But
before you go further, I think I need to correct something. I do not believe it was, I think it was the prison service, huh? I think it was the prison service that got him.
Would have been that got him.
Yeah, I believe it's the prison service. But anyway, go right ahead. The RGPF do their work too.
Yes. Okay, and not now but later with immediate effect, never again. So that means what I said, never again. But instead, they captured the gentleman alive and brought him in extremely good condition. I want to say, well done, guys. Now, Mr. Scott, I'm glad to see the men in uniform, lawmen and prison officers, adopting the straight talk syndrome. The straight talk syndrome, when they say, please be assured, he will be caught. That's confidence. And he was caught. Straight talk. No, that is the straight talk syndrome going on in Grenada now. Straight talk. We paying early and we paying on time, that materialize. Straight talk. We breaking diplomatic relationship with Taiwan in favor of China, that materialize. Straight talk. Straight talk, no 25%. Straight talk, 15-0. It was 15-0. That's straight talk. All those who assist in the invading, if that what was happened, will be dealt with in a severe way. Mr. Scott, I'm going back to the original straight talk syndrome. When our law enforcement people say, please be assured, he will be caught, we know they're speaking from the playbook of our leader. Why? Because those who say, please be assured before that nobody will be going home and everybody went home, it means that they were supporting a leader who is not accustomed to street talk.
My brother,
Gentlemen?
my brother,
yes.
I ain't letting you run just so. Before you leave, today's the 21st and the government paying today. You ain't find you seen some civil servants smiling when they're passing? Like if they come out from dental care?
You're talking about the 21st? I have people who went down Friday and they caused me to be going and check my stuff on Friday because when they tell me their own was already in, I said, Mr. Scott, I just don't understand how we can have people saying that this is a government that don't care. And you understand, even workers, despite the fact that this is the government that have done the most for workers in this country, and when it comes to pay, when it comes to January month, this is the only government that I'm aware of that have paid that early. Why? Because they're listening, and two, they care about the citizens of this country. Gentlemen, let me take a line from John Rollo. Would you have a pleasant day? Would you? Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
So some people actually get the money from Friday.
Friday, yeah.
So everybody else, I believe, by the end of the day today, Yeah, the bank account should be looking nice, especially those who getting the little 4%.
Yeah, the 4%
additional.
type.
Those whose salary going up to $9,000 plus dollars and
$7,000
plus dollars and.
And we ain't talking about ministers and parliamentarians and that kind of thing.
Other people in the civil service
ordinary
right now.
Grenadian workers, qualified and deservingly.
And they get a reduction on their income tax.
2%.
So they get a reduction on the income tax by 2% and an increase. So they really get a 6% for those who pay the income tax. Really
that's what I'm about to say. That not a 4%, that's 6%.
Yeah, it's actually a 6% for them.
6% raise.
Yeah.
To a lot of them.
Because they're getting a 4% increase and a 2% reduction in the income tax. So they're actually getting a 6% increase.
Grenada is sunny and nice with everything.
We go down in the complex and see what I could check and get money.
And before we go, just like to say condolences to the personal family of Tempe and the loss of Mapi. Those of us who know her, and so she was like a mother to all of us growing up in the Tempe area. All right, so the condolences to the entire personal family. And so, hey, on the death of Mapi.
All right. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It's been a wonderful one being here with you. Yep. And in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
Program note, remember tomorrow morning, it is a Tuesday morning, so we expect to have the post-cabinet press briefing immediately followed by Hard Talk. All right. So we are out of here. To the technical man, say a special thank you, and to all the radio stations. We do hope that you have a fabulous remainder of the day today and a very productive week. We are out.
Peace out.
Grenada moving to take advantage of GEF funding for environmental projects. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, January 18th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Grenada is gearing up to take advantage of funding available for environmental projects under the Global Environment Facility GEF 2019. GCF Caribbean constituency member countries spent the last 2 days in Grenada discussing and analyzing past, ongoing and future projects and developing policies and programs under the fund. The facility focuses on 3 main areas: land degradation, climate change and biodiversity. Grenada currently has more than 30 projects that are funded by GEF. Titus Antoine, representative of the Economic and Technical Cooperation Department in the Ministry of Finance, says Grenada is well poised to take advantage of funding for projects in 2019.
Grenada is well engaged with the GEF, with the GEF facility, but there's always room for improvement. So we would definitely come out of this meeting re-energized, reinvigorated to even do more than we are currently doing, to access even more funding, enhance the rate of implementation for the projects, etc. So we have a few projects in the pipeline. Some of the regional projects that Grenada is going to participate in are going to be sponsored by GEF, as well as national projects that's going to be sponsored. The project's going to be along 3 lines, three thematic areas basically. We'll be looking at land degradation, we'll be looking at biodiversity and climate change. These 3 areas primarily is where the projects will emanate from for 2019.
Antoine says under the upcoming 7th cycle, Grenada will propose more community-based programs and projects.
We are now in the, we just have what you call the 7th cycle. So GEF 7 is currently being programmed. So we want to have an early start to GEF 7. We also have, because it's just been replenished by the donors and so on, which is developed countries primarily, with some developing countries also. We have the GEF small grants as well, which is a key component of the GEF in terms of getting projects in the communities, the community-based organizations and so on, benefiting from funding to do work, environmental climate change work at the community level.
Haiti was appointed the new chair of the Caribbean Constituency Council on Thursday, taking over from Grenada after serving for 2 years. Grenada is moving to develop a national anti-childhood obesity action plan that will address the epidemic of obesity among the country's child and adolescent population. The National Non-Communicable Chronic Disease Commission has organized a one-day national consultation targeting all sectors of society, to be held at the National Stadium Hospitality Center on Thursday, January 24th from 8:30 a.m. Statistics from the World Health Organization shows that Grenada is suffering a similar fate to the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, where the rates of overweight and obesity in children aged 0 to 4 years doubled from 7.4% to 14.8% between the year 2000 and 2010. Dr. Sonia Nixon is the head of the Anti-Childhood Obesity Consultation Planning Committee. She says there must be a change in the method of operation to ensure children are healthy.
Children should be exercising 30 minutes a day. How many of us do that? How many parents actually ensures that? So this is really looking at it and see how we can come with a plan, getting everybody to bring their ideas to the fore from their points of view and coming up, because we do have some guidelines, but how does Grenada, approach this problem of obesity that we have among our children?
The decision by the National Chronic Disease Commission has been motivated by the experiences and information shared at a meeting in Jamaica last year, which spoke to the alarming rates of obesity in children and adolescents in the region and worldwide. Scientific evidence points to a direct link between obesity and the onset of chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and cancer.
We are looking at our needs. The whole region is moving in that direction. So we're keeping together as part of our Carriacou, as part of the world, a part of the region. But this is our drive to make sure that our people are protected and using guidelines that PAHO has worked for us, but let us make it very Grenadian.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The Grenada government is committed to improving the lives of citizens. Government announces early payment of January salaries for public officers.
Traditionally, government would make payments to public officers on the second to last day of the month. In this case, for January 2019, we have decided to make early payments to public officers on the 21st of this month. This has not been done in over a decade.
Public officers to get a 4% salary increase.
You would recall that the government would have negotiated with the trade unions for a 10% increase for public officers over a 3-year period. 2017, 3%, 2018, 3%, and 2019, 4%. We would kick off the 4% payment, which is to the tune of $6.7 million on January 21st, 2019.
January salaries to include increments.
Every year, public officers move incrementally in their pay and grade scale. This year, we are paying increments to the tune of $3.6 million, and that would also be included in the January 21st payment.
Will pensioners also benefit?
Pensioners' income is indexed to the salary increases of the public officers. So the 4% increase that public officers is due for 2019, pensioners would also benefit from that 4% increase.
Your government at work, delivering on promises made.
Continuing the news, motorists will have to pay just a few cents more at the pump as of Friday, January 18th. The price of gasoline now costs $14.70 per gallon, just 3 cents more than the previous price of $14.67. Diesel costs just 1 cent more at $15.02 and kerosene 2 cents more at $9.41. The 20-pound cylinder of gas remains at the current price of $40. Over in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, the price of gasoline also experienced a 3-cent increase. And finally, the National Grenada Brain Bee Challenge, which proudly had one of its finalists, Giovanni de Gans, placed second in the 2018 International Final in Berlin, is currently hosting the 2018-2019 round of the Grenada Brain Bee Challenge. Details from Annette Moore.
The zonal competition got off to a great start on January 9th at the J.W. Fletcher Memorial Catholic School, with 6 schools participating in the event, including the J.W. Fletcher Memorial Catholic Secondary, the Grenada Boys Secondary School, Westerhall Secondary, Presentation Brothers College, Hillsborough Secondary, and Westmoreland Secondary School.
This year marked 10 years since Brainbee has started in Grenada. So let's give ourselves a big applause.
The National Brainbee competition is based on neuroscience, and questions posed relate to the brain, its functions, and more.
To what stimulus does the somatic nervous system respond to?
Touch.
That is correct. Which part of the brain regulates timing of movement?
The cerebellum.
That is correct. What is the name of the nerve which leads from the ear to the brain? Auditory nerve. That is correct.
The zonal competition consists of 2 phases of quizzing. All material used for the questions are based on content from the Brain Facts book used by participants for their preparation. The top 3 emerging from the competition were Nikesh Andal of Westerhall Secondary School in 3rd place, Giovanni Thomas of J.W. Fletcher Memorial Catholic School in 2nd, and Rakiba Caton Bain of Westmoreland Secondary in 1st position.
Well, the experience was it was good, and I believe I've reached here because I've prayed to Him daily.
A lot of euphoria. And for those who don't know what that means, it basically means I'm happy and excited, very, very excited. A lot of the questions were a bit more easier than I thought it would have been. So I think I over-prepared for the competition, although I did get some questions wrong and not really answer within the time frame.
I believe that the competition is very competitive. I could tell that every student put their every all into it, and it has been a joy to participate.
This year, 6 participants instead of 3 advanced to the finals. Other schools advancing are the Grenada Boys Secondary School, the Presentation Brothers College, and Hillsborough Secondary School in Carriacou. All students involved were presented with certificates of participation, and those moving forward were given additional awards. The chief judge is Dr. Karen Blackman, and the quizmaster of almost 5 years is Dr. Gabrielle Walcott-Bedeau.
Firstly, I think the students had an excellent grasp of the general concepts. I think they were able to hold their own in terms of they knew what the questions were asking. What I think will give them the edge now is the details, the specific details. That is where they'll need to brush up on a little bit more as the competition gets a little bit more fierce.
This year also marks Carriacou's re-emergence into the Brainbee competition. Hillsborough Secondary's Brainbee coach, herself a past participant, was excited about their re-entry.
We found it fitting to try to reintegrate ourselves back in a competition of this caliber. We think that the students will learn quite a bit from it. They have already been saying that the knowledge that they have been gathering through studying already helps them in the sciences, in biology in particular.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
The Grenada government is committed to improving the lives of citizens. Government announces early payment of January salaries for public officers.
Traditionally, government would make payments to public officers on the second to last day of the month. In this case, for January 2019, we have decided to make early payments to public officers on the 21st of this month. This has not been done in over a decade.
Public officers to get a 4% salary increase.
You would recall that the government would have negotiated with the trade unions for a 10% increase for public officers over a 3-year period. 2017, 3%, 2018, 3%, and 2019, 4%. We would kick off the 4% payment, which is to the tune of $6.7 million on January 21st, 2019.
January salaries do include increments.
Every year, public officers move incrementally in their pay and grade scale. This year, we are paying increments to the tune of $3.6 million, and that would also be included in the January 21st payment.
Will pensioners also benefit?
Pensioners' income is indexed to the salary increases of the public officers. So the 4% increase that public officers is due for 2019, pensioners would also benefit from that 4% increase.
Your government at work, delivering on promises made.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.